I'm Kaylee, and today I'm doing my Try a Chapter wrap-up. At the last Try a Chapter, I got rid of 2 books, and I read 3 of them. So now we're going to wrap up those 3 books that I read for the last group of Try a Chapter books that I did. A couple of the books that I read for the last Try a Chapter group, I was kind of disappointed in, it was fine, but it wasn't that great. And one of the books, I was like, yes, this is a new favorite. I am loving it. But before we get into those, I want to make sure that you know that Books for MKs is a charity that donates books to missionary kids. Today's MK Shoutout goes to Heidi. Heidi is 6 years old and lives with her family in Bulgaria. She is a girly girl. She loves anything with fairies and flowers and princesses. If you want to donate to Heidi and children like her, you can donate to the Books for MKs charity at GoFundMe.com. So first let's get into the book that I really loved. I read Birdwing by Rafe Martin, and I fell in love with this fantasy fairy tale retelling. This is a continuation of that fairy tale where the brothers are cursed as swans, and their sister has to weave shirts out of nettles for each of them in order to break the curse. But at the end, one little brother's shirt isn't quite finished. It's missing a sleeve, and so when he turns back into a boy, he still has one arm that is a bird's wing. This isn't really a retelling of that main fairy tale. This is a continuation because it says what happens to that boy after the end of that fairy tale. Ardwin is the youngest son in his family, cursed with one bird's wing. He is feared and reviled by the world, and he sets out to seek an adventure that will lead him to his true home. But of course, he will never truly find peace until he learns to accept himself with his swan's wing and all. I really loved Ardwin's character. He's a very deep thinker, and he puzzles through a lot of deep ideas like identity and destiny and instinct and belonging and love and hate, and of course, forgiveness. There are so many wonderful themes that he wrestles with, but of course, ultimately, he finds where he truly belongs. The plot is wonderfully fantastical, full of wizards and enchantresses, talking animals and deep earth magic, and really impossible plot twists that just kept me guessing and wondering and perfectly in awe. The only thing I didn't like was the plot line involving the enchantress Evron or Evron. She was just too strange and mysterious. I never quite understood her purpose in the story or what she was up to. I also did not like how quickly everything wrapped up in the end. It was a good ending, I just needed a little more of a drawn-out development at the end. I really enjoyed reading this book, and it made me think deeply about some interesting issues. It's a beautifully complex story with many just shining characters. Any fantasy reader would love this one. I gave it 4 stars. I also read My 100 Adventures by Polly Horvath. Jane and her siblings live with their mother, a famous poet, in a cottage by the sea. And a preacher woman, Nellie, ropes Jane into passing out Bibles and distributing Bibles throughout the town. And a local woman blackmails Jane into babysitting her 5 children. Jane is pulled into the town drama and discovers that one of her mother's past boyfriends might be Jane's actual father. I really loved the writing style in this book. It's just beautiful and poetic and really insightful with these poignant little observations. But I did not like the story, and I did not like the characters. The story is weird. Nellie, the preacher, thinks that she has some kind of mystic faith healing ability, and she drags Jane into this quest for supernatural energy healing powers. That whole storyline was idiotic, and it made no sense whatsoever. And Jane's mother has several boyfriends from her past that show up, and Jane is wondering, is one of these men actually my father? But that storyline is never resolved, and Jane and her siblings are just left wondering, are any of these men our fathers? And Jane herself never does anything. She just stands around waiting for things to happen to her. Only one time in the entire book does Jane actually make a decision and take action. The rest of the time, she just waits for other people to do things or say things or make the decisions. She is possibly the most boring character I have ever read. But the writing is so entrancing and whimsical and poignant. It almost makes up for the boring characters and the random plot. Almost. Not really, though. I gave this one 3 stars because the writing really is good, but like, it's really more kind of 2 stars or 2.5 or something, I don't know. And I read The Wizard Test by Hilary Bell. Davin hates wizards. He believes the rumors that they are sly and dishonest, but he is required to take the wizard test to find out if he has any magical ability. When Davin passes the test and the magic inside him is revealed, he has to choose where his loyalties lie. And he has to discover the true meaning of his destiny. I really enjoyed reading this and I loved the magic system. Nothing and no one is quite what you expect. And because we see the world through Davin's eyes and he believes all this propaganda, he believes that the enemies of his nation are stupid barbarians. And so we're just as amazed as he is to observe that they have a thriving and elegant culture. And he believes that all wizards are selfish deceivers. And we are just as astonished as he is to realize that wizards are really compassionate champions of justice. I just loved going on this journey with Davin to discover things as he explores the truth about his world. I loved the characters. I loved how they're described in just a few rich words, and you get this perfect idea in your mind of just who they are and what they're all about. I immediately connected with the main characters and I was pulled along into the story. But I felt like the plot was a little too simple and I wanted more of a conclusion at the end. There are a lot of loose ends left at the end of the book. Davin makes his big decision at the end about where his loyalties really lie. And he makes the big decision about what path his destiny is going to take. But there is a lot of the plot line that's just kind of left to your imagination. I really wanted more closure at the end of the story, and I feel like it could have been wrapped up with just a short little epilogue. But we're just left hanging. I gave this one 3 stars because I was so disappointed in the ending. And that is my Try a Chapter wrap-up. Leave me a comment if you've ever read a book and it was going along wonderfully and you're loving it and it's great characters and plot and magic and everything, and then the ending kind of left you flat. Leave me a comment and let me know. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and remember, the right book in the right hands at the right time can change the world.